How did you get your first client?
Cold calling.
Not even cold email, cold calling.
Yes. I have cold called more than 48 to 100 people so far.
4,800.
Yes,
Fantastic.
close to 5,000 people I've cold called. I was working with Delhi Metro government, food partners for TEDx, for multiple MUNs, United Nations. I invited my parents that, okay, you come over. That's when I told them, like, look at this outlet. It looks nice now. They're like, yeah, like this is what I own.
Oh, wow.
If you want to start anything, the best cash flow positive business would be a service business model.
Exactly. An agency.
And nothing could go wrong in an agency. Why? Only investment that we have is your time and your effort.
Yes. 10 months of a full-time job is enough for one lifetime, I believe.
Alright, true.
Will AI replace everything? Will we be irrelevant?
Nothing is going anywhere. It's just things which AI would never able to replace. A human-to-human connection.
Exactly.
That is something which never would be replaced.
Hey, this is Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com, and today we are going to have a conversation with Aakash Bhalla, who is a content creator and an agency owner. So, hey Aakash, welcome to Micro Startup.
Hi guys, what's up? It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you Deepak for inviting me.
Yes, awesome. So Aakash, I have seen your YouTube channel, and I have also noticed that you run a program called Agency Launchpad. That's how I became curious about who you are and what you do. The first thing which impressed me and felt like, hey, I should invite this guy for a podcast is the design of this landing page. Right?
Thank you.
It has definitely proved itself in terms of ROI, in terms of the visual beauty. Plus, whoever has done this and you decided to invest in him, great decision.
Thank you, means a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, so today's conversation is going to be a very casual one, and this is just for inspiration for the people who follow me and for my audience. So how come did you get into this whole business stuff at a very early age? How did you start, and what happened in your professional life?
As you know, like we were having a deep conversation before this podcast also. So I began at a age of 18, wherein I come from a city called Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, which is a third tier city. So technically, wahan par there was nothing there. And when I came out in Pune, to Pune, I saw that there are endless opportunities, and it's just me who needs to go out and try. So that's when I realized that now I am in a city where my parents are not there. There is no one who knows my dad or my mom. So I can do probably anything. I can sell vegetables, but nobody would know me. So that's when I started that, okay, I would be doing something. And back when I was living with my parents, I had a very good curiosity level when it comes to cooking and baking.
Okay.
So whenever my mom used to make food, I was the one standing by her side in kitchen to taste and test if everything is right or not.
Oh, wow.
The salt in food or everything. So that's when I came to Pune, I decided, okay, what I'll do is I would be selling something related to food because that is what I am passionate about. That's where I at least started off with. So that's when I came across this product called waffles.
Okay.
And back then in 2017 or before 2017, I never even knew waffles existed.
Okay.
In Kanpur, I never had waffles. And for the first time, a friend of mine took me to this place called Belgian Waffle or something.
Yes, I have had Belgian waffles.
I was so amazed. Why? Because it is nothing but two pieces of bread, jammed together, with some chocolate in between, and they were selling it at 150, 160 rupees, the two pieces of bread.
Because it's now molded in a certain way, it's not normal bread, it's waffle.
Exactly. And it is supposed to be a bit sweet, a bit fancy looking thing, and that's why it's so expensive. Now you get a bread for 50 rupee, the entire packet of bread. Yes. Why these two pieces? That intrigued me to a level that I also want to see. And plus, I am a guy who is a dessert fan. So I was like, mujhe dessert hi banana hai. I need to make something along that. So that's when I started with my first business model. So it's called Waffle Nation.
Okay.
I did scale it to a very good level. I was working with Delhi Metro government. I was food partners for TEDx.
Okay.
For multiple MUNs, United Nations.
How did you crack these deals? You just did outreach by yourself?
Yes. So to be very frank, I have till date or until when I was running Waffle Nation, I never reached out to anyone. It was always the passion of making desserts which people saw in me, and they invited me for all these.
Okay.
I was I have officially done in possibly all Symbiosis in Pune events just because based on how happy this guy is baking waffles. Let's invite him to our event also. So that's where I got all the deals. And someone saw this, like the Waffle Nation's outlet in Pune, and they gave the recommendation to Delhi Metro government because they were coming up with the entire food unit. Food court in one of their like Noida's metro station. So then the team from there, they called me up that we are planning to get a dessert brand. Would you be interested in coming alongside with KFC, Burger King and all?
Oh wow.
So it's such a young brand, it came there. So that's when it started like bursting out. Until then, by the way, like my parents didn't know about like I am running this brand, aisa kuch bana diya hai.
After you actually established it to some extent, weren't you kind of itching to tell them, because then they will be feeling proud of you and you will get some validation from parents?
Like that little Aakash might have looked out for that, or it was like obviously every child is eager to get that parent validation. And I did that when I opened my first physical outlet. So I was running that, I was opening that outlet in Delhi. I invited my parents that, okay, you come over because my like grandmother lives there. So you come to that. And I just randomly called them to this metro station where they don't know where they're going. And that's when I told them like, look at this outlet. It looks nice now. They're like, yeah. Like this is what like I own.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh, like they thought I'm just kidding until the last very moment.
Oh, wow. Okay. That would have been a good satisfying moment.
Trust me. Like telling them that this is, and I had this dream when I started Waffle Nation. I would want to give the first outlet to my parents as a gift. So that's what I did with that. I gifted the first outlet to them only, that Delhi Noida wala. So yeah.
Fantastic.
And then COVID hit.
Okay. And then COVID, I believe, shut down your business. Did it like completely decimate it?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, theek hai. And moreover, I was the single guy running like 2 to 3 cities. It's impossible for an 18-year-old guy. You need to manage
it's not
CGP.
Like you have given it out as franchises also. No. These were stores that you were running.
I was operating with my teams. So I can either manage CGPA of my college or this revenue and teams and everything.
Yes.
That's when I decided, okay.
So then you decided that, okay, anything that involves a lot of physical, logistical issues is going to be very difficult. So how was your venture into the whole digital space?
I haven't mentioned it through our earlier conversation though. When I was actually jumping into this now, I might have come across your channel also.
Oh, wow.
And I have watched your content when I was understanding this landscape, that where things are. And that's when like I remember watching a video where you explained the basic landscape of digital marketing. I don't know which video it was, but I've definitely like learned that, okay, YouTube was the space I need to go, jahan se mujhe seekhna hai sab kuch. And why? My one reason was brick and mortar shops have so high cost that it won't be able to suffice my profit, like a good profits that I want to yield out. I need to have something which can be scaled out to like a good sized audience in a faster manner. So that's when like I started out with YouTube. There was this guy, I don't remember the name, and he was teaching how to start print on demand businesses, how to sell t-shirts. That's when I was like, oh shit, I can sell things out of country.
Yeah.
The dropshipping is all about this only. I started from
India and get a customer from US and also get it to their house delivered.
And I'm sure you know this, like during this early 2020s, 21, how hot dropshipping was as a like business model, right?
Yes. Everybody was into dropshipping and there were a bunch of folks making a lot more money teaching other people dropshipping than doing dropshipping themselves.
Yes. I remember. In fact, I also learned from such a person only. Yeah. But at least I got my basics clear. And then I invested heavily into, I had a person from Germany teaching me dropshipping for a like a one-on-one mentorship that I had. That helped me escalate and grow my dropshipping a lot.
So how was the dropshipping journey? And I think right now you are not doing dropshipping anymore.
Okay. So what I did was I started testing. I started like burning my hands with dropshipping, Shopify store development, how to run ads. Then I started arranging for all these logistics, inventory management and all these things. And wo sari cheezein I was doing through a Chinese aggregator. So it started scaled out good. I found my first winning product. I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll now start more brands. And that's where, by the way, I learned about that you need to be a niche market. You can't
correct.
be a general store. I started a one product store. So one product store was a winning thing for me. That's when I scaled it to 9 different one product store.
Oh, wow.
So branding like a good selling product, brand it out, then sell it. So I scaled it to a very good level until, I'm sure you remember that during COVID, Indian government banned many Chinese apps.
Yes.
Alibaba, AliExpress, they were all banned.
Ah,
So that's when I got a major setback.
okay.
Cost went like through the roof.
Oh,
So that's when I decided, okay, the margins were as such slim. I was doing close to 17% of my net profits, but it shrunk down to 8%. So it didn't make even any sense.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me just move out. And moreover, there is a big question mark in dropshipping. The question mark is you never see the quality of product.
Correct.
I never even touched my a single product that I sold. I was doing 40-45 lakh rupees a month in revenue. I never saw the product. And this was the time I got a major setback from customers that I was selling silver earrings. And the silver earring, customers started receiving all those, it was artificial silver. It was all rusted.
Okay.
That's when I realized, okay, this is a business where the quality can't be checked. Until unless you are not bringing it to your space and then delivering it, which was not possible.
Which was impractical considering the cost of logistics, warehousing and everything.
Exactly. So that's when I figured out I don't want to continue this. And then I shifted over.
Okay. So now what is the primary revenue activity that you are doing? I believe you are into agencies and services.
Yes.
Offering services. So how did you get into that? How did you figure out, okay, this is my niche?
Okay.
How did you build?
Fast forward after dropshipping, what I did was try different various things. Amazon FBA kar liya, e-commerce consulting I did. I also did freelancing. And then I was like, okay, I don't think so. I have found anything which I can live by. So that's when I decided I'll do job.
Okay.
I started a SaaS job. I actually interviewed for a good SaaS company and I became their SaaS sales head also.
Oh,
Within 10 months, I was promoted as a sales head. And during that time, I came across this agency business model.
Okay.
And it felt so good. Though I tried SMMA, the old SMMA, the social media marketing agency model. I tried during my in experimenting phase before job. It didn't work. I failed miserably. And then during job, someone told me this new approach of running agency. It's like you are no more a non-branded SMMA agency. You are a properly branded company, but doing everything remotely like an agency and outsourcing.
Okay.
So that's what I began with then. So until date, and I quit my job because of that. I got my first 2 clients. After getting my first 2 clients, I decided, okay, it's enough. I can now shift full-time.
10 months of a full-time job is enough for one lifetime, I believe.
Alright, true. We were discussing that only, how you have also learned so much.
Once you have tasted blood, right? You know how it feels to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It is the uncertainty which most people shy away from. But sometimes that uncertainty is what keeps life not so boring. Right?
Exactly.
Because in entrepreneurship, you don't know how much revenue you are going to do next month. And sometimes you feel like you might not do enough. And then you actually do a lot more than that. Sometimes you have a huge expectation and you do less and you are thinking what went wrong. And once you get used to this, then you have your mind occupied all the time, which is what we are all looking for.
Very true.
And there is a sense of boredom that always sets in once you are in a full-time job.
Exactly. And that is where I had a big slap during my job. I remember my dad was going through a bit of a financial crunch in his job.
Okay.
So my sister was supposed to be admitted into her college. And that is when my dad reached out to me for some financial help because he knew that my child is now a sales head of a company. He's supposed he might be in a capacity to help.
Support.
But the problem that or the roadblock that I came was I was not having a single proper rupee in savings. Whatever I was earning, I was spending. This is how 19% of corporate runs. Paycheck to paycheck. I was waiting for my first to come of the month so that I can get a new check which I can spend. And like every weekend seemed the same, party, going out here and there. And that is when I realized, oh shit, what the hell I was doing. Like for the first time ever, my dad ever approached me and I don't have anything to answer back.
Yeah.
That is when I was like, I need to go again out.
Ah,
That's when agency came.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, how did you get your first client?
Okay. If you ask me in one sentence, it's cold calling.
Cold calling.
That worked.
Not even
because
cold email. Cold
nothing.
calling.
Yes. I have cold called more than 48 to 100 people so far.
4,800.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Close to 5,000 people I've cold called.
Ah.
During my office breaks, cold calling. And but the thing is I closed through cold calling a Indian client. That was my first. International clients I recommend to everyone. Like cold calling in international markets don't work. It
Not
purely
from
doesn't
India.
work.
You might need to get like a partner who does cold calling from that country.
I have tried
locally.
that also. You know
Okay.
what? It failed.
Okay.
Why? Because the thing is in international markets now, they consider calling someone as a very personal thing. Very personal. So if you call them and sell something to them, that come for a free demo even, they take it in a very negative way. Like what we cracked over the period. This is what I learned over the period. And that is what I even teach everyone today. So what we realized is if you want to go for international markets, go for text messages, SMS marketing. So that is what cold calling better work for me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
One of the techniques that I have been doing for deep marketing is to reach out to a decision maker and tell them that I'm shipping you a free copy of my book. I want your review on it.
Oh.
Get their address, ship the book to them, and then in the second email, say that I think we can do email marketing for your business. Would you be interested to get on a call?
Oh.
Now they are much more likely to get on a call because you have sent them a book and it's free and it got delivered by Amazon Prime. So they have taken care of delivery, and it's like a 3-dimensional physical retargeting that is happening because nobody throws away a book.
Yeah.
People can throw away business cards or even
Exactly.
brochures. But if you have sent them a book, now you have a better brand recall.
Oh, shit, this is actually very interesting.
Yes.
For the first time I'm hearing this.
If you cold email 300 people, at least 20 to 30 people are likely to respond with an address. And sometimes you can just ask them, can I just ship it to your office address? It will reach the security or somebody, and eventually it will reach their table because it won't get discarded.
Exactly.
And it can be like a 200 rupee book. You can publish it from Notion Press. And it can be like a 150 page, book, which will cost you 200 rupees, right? So try this.
Crazy. And I have never thought of this. This is very smart. What we did is, I have cracked one way to pass those receptionists and all. We call these companies up and obviously this is a bit of a cover that we use. Tell them, let's say if you're reaching out to, for example, coaches offices, or let's say if you're reaching out to doctors, you can tell them that we are calling from a awarding company.
Okay.
Your clinic or the doctor has been selected for this. So I needed their email or an individual mobile number.
Okay.
So that my team can get in touch with them. So then that is what they share. And then you can get through the door because let's say if my agency is working with chiropractors, dentists, those receptionists don't let you in.
Yes.
They're very hard to crack.
Everybody needs a ego massage. So if they say that we are giving you an award, then you can get in touch with them.
And they would immediately throw your throw the email of the founder, take it, send him. They'll remind you, send him an email.
Yes.
So that is what.
Which is a technique that a lot of these fake PR publications use, saying that you have been selected as one of the top 10 CEOs in India. And then they will ask you money to publish in their magazine. But yeah, end of the day, the psychology is the same. Interesting. So now, you have been running this agency. So have you built a completely remote team? How many team members are there? And if you want to give a ballpark, what kind of revenues have you achieved with your agency?
So basically, I have scaled in the last 1 year aggressively. We have scaled to 25, 27 people now. And 100% of them are remote. Yeah, 100% of them are remote. Majority of them are in North India. Some are in Bangalore. And definitely I came here to meet them only. So which is why we got to connect.
Yes.
And everyone is sitting remote, everyone is working remotely. Apart from that, when it comes to numbers, we are closing monthly sales of close to $17,000, $15,000 to
Fantastic.
$17,000 on an
Amazing.
average. Like,
But
but
you are saying this in dollars because most of them are international clients.
no,
Okay.
like we work with majority of Indian clients.
Okay.
I say dollars because the industry that I am in
Yes.
has a benchmark of like using currency as dollars.
Yeah.
So that is where
The e-commerce industry.
exactly. So that is what we have been doing. But when it comes to again, let's say if you want an INR, it's 16 to 20,
got
25
it.
lakhs.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
like during these seasons, by the way, like festives, Diwali is coming. This is the month that we go low. Brands do more numbers. Why? Because this is the time when brands don't want newer agencies,
Correct.
right?
They just want to scale up
With their
whatever is
current
already
partners.
working.
So that is why we don't get newer clients.
Correct.
During these seasons, we do close to 12,000, 50, like 14,000. But on good months, we cross like 18, 19. Tak. So yeah.
So one of the most difficult things that I have faced with an agency model is that if you are the agency owner, invariably you have to be present a little bit at least with multiple touch points with multiple clients. Have you been able to completely build a leadership team who can operate without you? Does it seem possible? Because I think by now at this revenue stage you might have realized that going from, let's say, $1,000 as a freelancer to maybe $5,000 or $10,000 as an agency is possible, but from maybe $10,000-$20,000 to $100,000 or $200,000 a month in revenue becomes extremely challenging. There is like a glass ceiling that comes, and that's when we start thinking about maybe I should get into education business or maybe I should get into SaaS. So where have you seen that glass ceiling and what challenges you have faced in this journey?
So I'll tell you very honestly, what I figured out is I love when it comes to tackling the business or like client problems. And but I am not, or I feel this is my place where I lack keeping everyone in touch, for everyone together as a team. And that is where I got a good like partner. This is the stage where I partnered up.
Okay.
Or technically partnered up. It's just like a senior management who is taking care, who is basically representing me in the company now.
Got it.
So you are now a reflection of me only. But that is the first stage of hierarchy that I built. And then from there, what I figured out is client does want you, but only the client wants you if you were the person involved in getting them onboarded.
Correct.
Right?
Makes sense.
If client has started your building the relation with your agency through you, then only client would be wanting you. I've seen this. So what I did was the first thing, I took myself out whenever a new client got onboarded.
Got it.
So what we do now is we have a communication managers. We assign 4 to 5 brands to each one communication manager. You are responsible for acting as a well-wisher for the brand. Every day if a brand has an issue, you need to keep the brand in loop. What is happening in the in the agency? Reporting,
right? They need to know what is happening. They are paying so much. Even if you are getting them results, you need to keep telling them that this is what we did. These are the results, and update. And
in India, especially, you need to focus on that. Now, international clients that I have, they are a bit less headache when it comes to communication. Indian clients do need a more of communication happening, touch points. So that is where we introduce this model, that we'll have multiple communication managers. So client stays happy. Yeah. And if you ask me, any agency, if it is running and you think or you know that my clients would need a lot of communication, rather than you going or you becoming, because I thought at one point I'll become that communication manager. I'll just communicate with the clients. I'll manage all the clients. I won't be managing. I have my team of advertisers, designers, everything is in place. But I'll be talking to the client. But that is when client becomes client now wants everything from you only, through you.
Yes, because he thinks that if something goes wrong, you can be held accountable. Exactly. And you have not put anybody else in a confident position for the client that, hey, if something goes wrong, I can hold this person accountable.
Exactly. So what we did is, we assigned communication managers, but let's say if things go out of hand, in case, then obviously I would be the one stepping in. Or now the person who is representing me as a partner, like the co-founder in the agency,
Yes.
he would be representing. So
Got it.
this is how we have structured, and everyone down. Earlier we started with one service. Now we have expanded to multiple.
Got it.
So yeah.
So now that you have understood that there is a market need and you are in a position to fulfill that market need, initially when you are involved yourself, then you are very confident, but then eventually you have to build a very good team.
Yes.
So how has been the hiring process so far? What have you done as mistakes in hiring process? Because I'm pretty sure that you would have had some very difficult conversations with a few people who you had to let go, right? So what have you learned in the entire process of team building itself? Because the most difficult part is to work with humans, right? Working with computers, tools, we can do.
Exactly.
On one side, you are working with clients. On another side, you are working with your team. And they generally say that in corporate, middle managers are the ones who are most stressed.
Exactly.
Because they have to report to the higher management as well as they have to manage their subordinates.
Team,
And entrepreneurs are always like middle managers only, right?
Very
on
true.
One side you have clients, and one side you have your team.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Yes.
If you ask me, the one thing I would recommend, always try finding someone who is smarter to you. That is one mistake which I have always made. I used to think that, okay, if this person can do only this part of the job, now rest I'll take care of. We always try to do this. Okay, you just take care of this, rest I'll do. But this is where I have always been let down that, oh shit, again, the mistake. So number one is that. And number two, I have always wanted to hire as soon as possible. Like if I have a role opening, I look at how quick I can finish rather than looking at how better I can find, how much good talent I can find. There are because everyone today just want to get done with the role. I just need a person who can take care of this. Take this headache away from me. And this is one thing I again made mistake on. Don't go how fast I can finish and just get someone hired on this role. Instead, if you need to leave that role empty for months, it's okay. You fulfill until you don't find a person who can fulfill up till that level. And number three, the biggest of all, you will never find a replica of you. Yeah. Don't try to find another you. Always try. Obviously, there won't be anyone loving your work more than you. Because it is your brainchild. Yes. You have curated this. It is but obvious that you would be loving it to the more than anyone could. And that person is coming from the outside now into the ecosystem. That is by default, that person would be having their own conditions, terms and everything. So come with a pinch of salt that you won't be finding your own replica. And people spend so shit amount of time finding a person that I need a person who can just act as like me. But that you won't ever find.
The only way is to clone yourself, but there is no way to do that.
Exactly. So it's better and find a good human being and then train them on the worldly skills.
Yes. If you hire for attitude, the right attitude and the right intelligence, I think nowadays pretty much any skill can be learned with a fast learning curve.
Exactly. I'll teach you what things you need to talk to the clients. But if you are a person having that learning attitude, if you're a person who is willing to take on responsibilities, then only it will make sense for me to get you in the team, because these skills anyone can teach you. But no one can teach you how to take responsibility. Yes. How to hold yourself accountable for this. Yes. That is important.
Fantastic. All right. So now that you have, had all this experience building a team, running an agency and everything, and the way I found out about you was through Agency Launchpad.
Yes.
And you have ventured into teaching other people how to build an agency.
Yes.
And you have had your own journey in this, starting with small price points to eventually increasing the price point. So how has been your creator and mentor journey?
Oh, that has been a hell of a up and down, because we I started alone as okay, I know something about agency. Why don't I just tell people? People are having so basic issues, but they are struggling to find those basic answers even.
Correct.
That is when I realized, okay, I'll just tell what I did. I'll tell what I learned. If you find it helpful, go with it. This is what I used while cold calling. This is how I convinced my client. If it finds any use in your business, go for it, apply it. So that is where I began, or this is the perspective with I started creating content. Because honestly, I am a highly introvert guy. I like, it is very tough for me to stand cameras.
Yes.
Till date, I have done my old like all these businesses in the past, all behind camera.
Yeah.
I never came out.
Yeah.
And this was the first time now, because during this 2023 like content creation, all these things picked so big of a boom, right? That is when I realized, okay, I know a lot, I can help others. And that is when I started creating content about agency finally. And that too after scaling my agency beyond $9,000 or something.
Got it.
$7,000 my agency was doing. Then only I was confident enough, okay, now I can address few questions. And that's when I started with like, okay, now people had so many doubts that, and it was more or less the repetitive questions that were coming. So I was like, okay, why don't I convert this into a product which people can get answers, the right accurate answers, and just leverage. It's like a playbook. You use this exact thing, get your thing done. Build an agency from scratch. Use this. And because everything is a step-by-step process. Exactly.
Yeah, because there are so many niches out there. I also feel like freelancing an agency as a business model is not like a winner-take-all market.
Exactly.
In pretty much every other categories, like let's say e-commerce in India, Flipkart, Amazon, like, they will raise funds and overspend from the competition. They will try to be the dominant player. But you cannot be a dominant player when you are offering services, because services by default, especially customized services, cannot be scaled as a product.
True.
Right? I keep saying that as a creator, business is also not a winner take all market, just like movies and music industry, because it's not like one movie has got 90% market share, right?
True.
You will have a blockbuster movie, but you still have many other movies. You have famous singers, but you have a lot of famous singers. So when you get into a market which is not a winner take all market, like in winner take all markets, if you become the major player, then you have the whole pie to yourself. Like let's say Google has 96% market share.
Exactly.
Razorpay has probably 70% market share in payment gateway in India.
True.
Don't quote me on that, but you get the idea. So Flipkart, PhonePe, Paytm, everybody is trying to go for the winner take all markets. And when you are going for such a market, then it makes sense to raise funding. Right? It makes sense to keep running in losses for a long time before you become profitable. So a lot of people who quit their job come out like, hey, I want to build a startup. They are getting inspired by, let's say, the Googles and the Flipkarts of the world. And they are like, I will also build a startup. And they don't even approach building a business which is cash flow positive and more sustainable than a startup which has maybe raised 1 or 2 rounds of funding and then it's shut down.
True. Very big, very big. And like over here, one thing I will add. Today, I feel if you want to start anything, the best cash flow positive business would be a service business model.
Exactly. An agency.
Yes, an agency. And nothing could go wrong in an agency. Why? Only investment that we have is your time and your effort.
Yes.
And as such, you have ample of that. That's why you are probably like trying to figure out things.
Yes, exactly.
That is the only investment. And the return that you're getting, that is money.
Yes.
So that is where I tell everyone the best service business model to do is like the best business model to start if you want to start.
Service business.
Go for like starting your agency. So.
And in agency, you also have the scalability, unlike a job where if you become like VP of marketing of a big organization, you might be earning 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, sometimes even 1 crore in CTC, but you still will not have any free time. You cannot build any process and systems. You cannot have any type of asset built up over a period of time that you can bank on it. The day you stop showing up for work is the day that your income stops. So I have always been thinking I always think from why should I even work, right? First of all, so when you try to think from that angle, from the base principles, the way I have tried to understand this whole arena of adulting and having to pay the bills and making money is that if you just want to sit and do nothing and want to have your passive income, like all the gurus say, maybe you can buy, let's say, a flat for 2 crores and you need 2 crores of capital to buy a house. You can rent it out and comfortably make 1 lakh. I'm being conservative. Sometimes you might make more, but let's say if you want 1 lakh in passive income, you buy a house and rent it out. the house will appreciate to some extent. The capital will also grow. Apart from that, it will also throw your cash flow. Now, it's not 100% passive technically. Maybe it is 95% passive because you still have to find a tenant, sign a rental agreement with them. If the tenant is not paying right, like on time, then you call and follow up with them. The tenant is saying that maintain the house. Yeah, the toilet breaks or something. Then you have to send a plumber or electrician or whatever. So
paint walls.
So even in that, it's not 100% passive, but the passivity is high relatively compared to a job which pays you 1 lakh. Okay.
Any day.
A job that pays you 1 lakh, you have to take a job and work for 8 hours a day throughout the week, sometimes even Saturday nowadays, startups are demanding. Now the reason why you have to work so much is because you don't have a capital built up which is like 2 crores. Now even in this, it's not 100% active. You can say it's 95% active because the rest of the 5% is the momentum that you have built in terms of your language, communication, the skills that you already had, your Ivy League education, if you have, which was an investment. Now, if you take these two examples as two ends of the extremes, if you are trying to move right, the next step is ideally a service-based business, because in a service-based business, it's not completely non-scalable like a job, little bit more scalable, but not so scalable like a SaaS product, which becomes like a billion-dollar company,
exactly.
Right? So, if you look at a restaurant you can say is 80% service and 20% product. The product is the brand, the menu, the recipes that they already have, maybe something proprietary, the real estate location, it's all like a product component.
Exactly.
While 80% is service because you go sit there and then you order the food. There has to be a chef who cooks, there has to be fresh vegetables, groceries, meat, everything that has to be brought into the restaurant. Now, if you look at a business model like Apple, we think of Apple as a product company, but Apple is also a service company in the sense that if they don't give software updates for our laptop, then you are not going to be able to use the product. The only thing that is purely a product is raw material, which is like a commodity, which only competes on price. So the way I look at it is that if you are going from a, let's say, agency business to a SaaS business, I have seen a lot of SaaS business where product is one component, but there is a huge customer success team, which is getting on calls with the B2B client and literally helping them implement it, right? Instead of just giving the product and say, you implement. So that is a little bit of balance between a purely a SaaS product, which is completely self-serve, to an agency, which is completely a service. Now there is a middle point there. I have worked in such companies where I saw that their product is not that great compared to the competition, but they killed it with customer success, where the customer success itself was like a service component where they subscribe for the monthly SaaS product, but these guys are calling them, following up with helping them literally implement it and deploy it so that they can use it.
I have been actually learning that exact thing that you have been telling, because now I am myself shifting, or basically not shifting exactly. I still run my agency till date, which would be going on. But parallelly, I am building a SaaS product, which is more focused on the freelancers, agency owners of India especially. So with that focus, in fact, I even came across this thing that every business is some way or the other a service business. Even if it is a SaaS, even if it is an app, anything that you build that you call a product is somewhere deep down having its root into service business. And service business basically gives you a runway to start.
Correct. And then you slowly so the way I look at it is that a lot of people say that productize your services, but you can also launch a product and servicize your product, if even that is a word. And the way I looked at it is that, see, if you go to a gym, it's a product. You are just paying the subscription and you are getting access to the tools. There might be a service component involved in it, in the sense that the gym has to be maintained every day, cleanliness wise. But if you are getting a personal trainer, then you are always ready to pay more for a personal trainer, because you understand it's a service, it's not a product. And generally we feel like if it's a product where the marginal cost for the business is very less, then we are like wanting to bargain and pay as less as possible.
Exactly.
So in education businesses, the way I servicized my product is that instead of just giving course modules, which are recorded courses, which is actually the meat of the entire thing, we are offering, let's say, weekly Q&A session, which is a service. Then we are offering certification, cashbacks, community and everything. So once you add the service component to this product, now people are perceiving it as a higher value. So from internal perspective as a business, your product component should be as high as possible. and service component should be as less as possible. But from the customer's point of view, it should feel like a service, but it's a productized service.
It should be.
It
It
runs
should
on-
be it should be a service, but it should feel like that everything has such a good standard operation
Yes.
that nothing can go up and down. Like in a service, it's a
For-
humanly given
For
thing.
you, it is like, to a large extent scalable.
Yes.
And if not scalable, completely using automation systems, processes, or AI and
Exactly.
robots, you are at least able to put a process system to people, and those people can replicate those systems and processes, which is what exactly Michael Gerber's E-Myth Revisited book, which is a very famous
Oh
book
yes,
in
I
this
have.
industry.
Yes.
He talks about how do you get extraordinary results out of ordinary people is that you have great process systems, and that
Exactly.
becomes your asset base.
And that is what, like, as you said, like we are doing an agency launchpad as well.
Okay.
Like we have the main meat of the program, which is a 60-hour long learning modules, like multiple different genres, multiple different segments we have of the program. And apart from that, now we also have that service section introduced,
Yes.
injected in, which is every week 2 Q&A calls, one accountability call, doubt sessions, live doubt sessions. So everyone feels that, oh yes, I would be getting a good
personalized
amount
service.
of ROI on this investment.
Yes.
So which is what we have been aiming at.
Like imagine if AI and robotics has evolved to such an extent that they can actually cook food for you. Now, if there is a restaurant where it's actually like, iRobot kind of, humanoid robots actually doing the cooking for you, you don't want to pay so much, even if it is gourmet dishes. But if you think that it's a human chef sitting and cooking inside, then you will like pay more, right?
It's a touch of human.
It's a touch of human as much as possible, while on your back end, we try to automate it as much as possible. The opposite end of it is that I heard that, when I think it was Adobe or IBM, I don't remember the company exactly, that before they could invent voice to text, right? You narrate something and it's like voice typing. They wanted to check how much people will practically use it. So they called a focus group, and there were a bunch of people sitting, and they said that we have developed this computer which will automatically convert your voice into text. So they ask a volunteer and he just talks in front of the mic and it's like coming into text, and they wanted to see how excited these people were, but they have not developed the product. Instead, there was a guy sitting and transcribing it manually.
Oh.
So that is a way to also find out whether your automated productized service will actually be valuable. You actually have service behind. In certain cases, the opposite also works that way.
So,
right?
like what we are doing is in terms of product development, like just to make it more productized. And I think we are the first program in India which would be like ecosystem in India, which would be even approaching this. We are training custom machine, like custom GPTs basically on our programs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now
doubt
the
clearing
students-
can be
exactly.
done through this.
That doubt clearing,
Yes.
that I wanted my people, whoever is a part of this like ecosystem, they shouldn't wait for that Sunday or that Q&A call to happen. Why don't we have like every day 24-hour your doubt answering machine there for you?
Yes.
That is what we are
So
training.
I did a personal version of this. So you are a fan of Sam Owens and you have
Yes.
gone through his courses.
I love that guy.
So 1 week's modules itself is like some 12 to 14 hours, right? There are 7 videos in 1 week.
Yes.
And I have always felt like, so much sense of fresh thoughts, ideas, perspectives whenever I listen to his videos, but they are just too long.
Exactly.
So first thing what I did was that I took his entire video ka transcription, put it in ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to make bullet points.
Oh.
So the first thing that I did was that compress his entire probably 70, 80 hours of consulting accelerator into a simple booklet where 2 pages were like 1 week. So it has the synopsis.
Crazy
But
good.
again, that was not enough for me because I'm always thinking, in this situation, how would Sam Owens decide? So now ChatGPT has all this information. Now I can ask ChatGPT, what would Sam Owens do in this situation? What should I do?
Oh.
So then it can basically give you the answer based on all the data it has from the video transcripts, because it's like his thought process. and
this
thinking.
this is a like a good next level.
Yeah, it's like
of
you
using.
have developed your own personal thing, which if Sam Owens was still running consulting, maybe he would have developed a custom GPT where you are like, instead of asking a mentor a question, you can basically
That
ask
is
him.
what I even like approach things,
Yeah.
productize to whatever a max extent you can,
Yes.
and then top it up with good service.
Mm.
That is what the
And I also believe that community itself is becoming a service, right?
Oh, yes, big time.
Because uh, most of the people who join Ivy League schools, they do not join there for the content. They join there for the community.
Exactly, for the network they
And
get
for
access
the
to.
network and everything, right? So having that barrier of entry is an instant way to vet people, whether they are serious people or not. So I was part of Rohan Uability's mastermind as well. And I had another member in that. His name is Dharnidharan. And he apparently has taken my courses back in 2017.
Oh,
And I have met him when he came to my event. But then the conversation did not go forward because, once you go deep into this coaching space, you will see that everybody wants your time and attention. And you can't really put a filter on people that who you can spend time with and who you can take seriously.
exactly.
But when he also joined Uability's mastermind, and that cost like 15 lakhs a year,
Oh.
then you know that, okay, these guys are at a particular level of revenue and business maturity that they have joined this. So even though I knew him before, I took him seriously when he joined the mastermind.
Exactly.
And then built a very good relationship with him.
Mhm.
We also had a lot of time to hang out.
Yeah.
During these mastermind events, you have like friends, and
Mhm.
the mastermind events are not just about content, right? You go
Yeah,
for
true.
dinner together, you catch up, and do some shenanigans as well.
Yeah.
So then he invited me to his event, which was like a 400 people event as a
Oh.
speaker, and me speaking there has got a bunch of people into my funnel who became my customers again.
Oh.
And this all happened because we were part of the mastermind. We were still in touch. We still knew each other, but we did not take each other seriously because we were not part of a mastermind.
True.
So when you are charging something like, let's say, 5 lakh per year membership for a mastermind, and if it has like maybe 2 or 4 events in a year, quarterly events, which happen sometimes in Goa or some offline location like a resort, the value is just in the networking. And in the club,
yes.
right?
100%.
So I'm pretty sure that people from your cohorts as well might have found each other, became
Yeah.
partners, became friends.
This is how I have seen some of the best bonds being developed.
Yes.
So
yes.
now we are a community of 300 plus people.
Oh, fantastic.
So what I have seen is people offer or cross pollinate their services to clients.
Fantastic.
Right.
Yes.
Let's say if I let's say if I am running this agency of dentist, and but I don't have the service of helping appointments get booked. But it's similar to running an agency
Yes.
for chiropractors. The same people need to be called. I can just give you my cold callers to fix those appointments, or my appointment setters.
Yes.
So that is how people are cross pollinating.
Yes.
So-
Fantastic. And one of the tip that I gave for my cohort of students who are studying freelancing is that I told them that join together as a bunch of 3-4 people and make an agency out of it.
Oh.
And one person is in content marketing, one person is doing performance marketing. So you might not be able to do everything for the same client, but you can cross pollinate. Like a client might need
crazy
blog newsletters, but you are a performance marketer or a designer. You can pass on the client to them. And some client who has articles being written in blog also now wants performance ads or design. Then you can kind of bring it into the same agency.
True.
And I also said that put a contact number, but don't put your contact number, put your friend's contact number. Your friend's contact number will be yours. And whenever somebody calls, he's like, no, sir is in a meeting, he's busy. I will ask him to call you back.
Oh.
Because as a freelancer, there is this perception that you are always free or you'll work for free,
Yes,
because
yes,
there is
yes,
a
yes.
word free in freelancer. And freelancers feel like, my authority is not high enough for me to charge high ticket prices. So if you kind of come under the umbrella of an agency, even if it's a one-person agency, then we have Shreyas, my performance marketer who used to work with me, run an agency called Sellwell Digital.
Okay.
It has a bunch of freelancers who are also working with him. But right now he's basically a freelancer. He's just a single person company, but he is positioning himself as an agency.
That is why I recommend everyone, if you want to actually go out with the agency model. Again, if you have the freelancing skills, even if to some extent, and if you don't have, obviously we have your channel. So learn those basic foundations,
Yes.
and then put it as a brand, put it in a branded way.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever, let's say you were going to get X amount, now you might probably get 20% more of that X.
Correct. Exactly.
Now people just take you a bit seriously.
Yes. It's a company. It's not just a single
Yeah,
person.
I'm not a
right?
freelancer just sitting here. Now develop or convert that thing into a business model where people feel that urge that I am actually making an investment in a company for my brand, for my growth.
Yes.
And that is why that is what I started with the same vision.
Yeah. You never positioned yourself as a freelancer in front of your clients.
While I was doing my job, I had no business, no company, nothing. I closed 2 big clients. I was a single man running the show. I could have been a freelancer. But that is where I learned the difference. It's better I choose this way.
Correct.
I learned the skills of how like freelancing runs and everything, and then apply it in this manner. It's just a branded way of doing it.
Yeah, end of the day, like when you are reaching out, instead of reaching out from your personal name, you are reaching out from your company name, saying that, I run this agency. You are still like positioning yourself as an expert, but it's not just an individual expert. It's a team of people.
True.
Always looks a lot more serious.
Very true. Very true.
Interesting how the space is evolving, and thanks a lot for your inputs.
Means a lot.
So, anything else you want to share regarding, like, where do you see 5 years down the line with AI and everything? That's the biggest question that keeps coming up from students. Will AI replace everything? Will we be relevant?
Nothing is going anywhere. It's just if you are not smart enough to understand that you need to keep upskilling yourself, you will be replaced.
Correct.
And there are few things which AI would never able to replace. A human to human connection.
Exactly.
That is something which never would be replaced.
And I have also kind of thought about and talked about with my community why it cannot be replaced. It's because AI does not suffer. And human to human connection happens because of common experiences of suffering.
Exactly.
Or the opposite of suffering as well, like joy, right? Let's say, like, I met a friend recently, and he has 2 kids, 2 small kids, and most of his friends circle is also people who have 2 small kids. And they talk about like, where did you put the kids for school, what are the challenges they are facing and everything. So whether it's positive or negative, those human experiences are now commonly experienced, which AI can never experience because AI is too perfect in a way that it can never feel pain.
And like, you know what? I have one more thing. More than 80% of the people who are worrying about AI will take over like their job or anything are those people who know deep down that they are not putting in the work that they should be putting.
Yes.
You should be putting out. And if you are still looking out to get started, what is that one perfect? People are always running behind that one perfect thing. What is that one perfect business model? Freelancing, agent. Just get started with anything. Anything. And you will find the answers down the line.
Yeah.
That is what one thing. But yeah. Apart from that, I know like you give hell lot of value out there. So like you do cover a lot of things. So
I just enjoy doing these podcasts a lot because first of all, it's a lot of learning for me.
Exactly.
But once you have, let's say, crossed 1 lakh or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, it just gets easier to invite people. Like, for example, I have always been very inspired by Rajiv Talreja's entire business model. I have attended his webinars, attended his events. But I was able to invite him for a podcast and have a one-on-one conversation for almost an hour.
Beautiful.
And there is a conversation happening before the podcast and after the podcast, just like we had.
Yes.
And how else do you make friends as an adult, especially as a high-performing adult who is always working and always growing?
True.
One of the things that I have realized after being in business for more than 10 years is that it's very difficult to make friends in a lot of contexts where you need each other. Right. If you have an employee and you are the employer, the first cementing relationship or the foundation of the relationship is that you pay money and they provide you value. So there is an exchange of value. We need each other, but we are not friends. That does not necessarily mean that I act in a bossy way and an egoistic way with them. You can have friendly moments with your employees, but the foundation of the relationship was not friendship in the first place.
Exactly.
Friendship happens when there is equal exchange of value, which is not going up and down. Like, I learn from you, you learn from me. And it's not like we are interdependent on each other. We just crossed paths and we talk. We talk about stuff, your experiences, my experiences, which is what happens when you have college friends, school friends.
There is no hunger for any exchange to happen.
Yes. And the companionship or basically the exchange is intellectual exchange, something fun, something laughable, something insightful. And when the relationship stays at that level, that is when you build friends. But when you go beyond a certain stage in your maturity as an adult, then you lose contact with your school friends, then you lose contact with your college friends, and people have gone to different countries, different cities, different jobs. You can't even relate. Like, I talked to my friend who is a project manager in HCL.
Okay.
And there is nothing for me to talk to him in terms of relatability. Like, yes, there are some things in terms of family and parents and back hometown mein kya ho raha hai, or some politics. But in terms of work, what he talks about, I cannot relate to him at all, because he is talking to a certain set of people in his, and the experience that he has as an employee is not relatable to me at all. Clearly. And I am like, bro, why don't you start a startup? Right? That's what I will say.
Yes. Yeah, completely agree.
Agree. So that happens in a lot of relationships, and to a large extent in married relationships or in boyfriend-girlfriend relationships as well. Because you see, the most successful relationships, even if it is a marriage, are relationships where the number one reason why you are sticking together is because you enjoy each other's companionship.
Oh, very true.
Not because the woman married the guy because the guy has money. Not because the guy married the woman because she can provide sexual intimacy or cook in the kitchen.
Very good.
And a lot of marriages happen in these contexts, especially in tier 2 cities where women do not have those opportunities to build a career for themselves. And in those contexts is where it's the most toxic. Because they are sticking together because they need each other, not because they just enjoy the companionship. But if you are into a relationship where you are not necessarily marrying the woman because she can cook or provide you sexual intimacy, even though she might be the only source of sexual intimacy beyond a particular point, especially after marriage, it is not the reason why you marry, right? It's not like, oh, she's hot, let's get married. Probably not.
Exactly.
You marry because you enjoy each other's companionship. And that is where, in my own experience, I felt that the only way to make a marriage successful is not to need each other. Yes, you can give, but don't need each other.
Exactly.
Right?
Play on the same playing field.
Yeah. Just enjoy each other's companionship, and there is no other reason that the relationship should be sticking together. But unfortunately, in a lot of founders that I have met, their only friend circle is their employees. But sometimes there is always a little bit of friction there. Exactly. Like, for example, they can't make a joke about you. And then if you are in a company where nobody is like telling you the reality, right?
You are living in a dilemma.
Yeah, you will get delusional. You will get disconnected from reality, because whatever you say, they will be like, yes, boss, great idea. Right?
Exactly.
They won't tell you the reality because they don't want to offend you.
True.
Because you are paying them a salary, and then it's not fun. And then you get disconnected from reality. And I always compare this, founder CEO relationship with employees to something like a beautiful woman, right? Generally, they say that very attractive women never hear the reality. Apart from their brothers or from their fathers. Because everybody else is wanting to be nice to them. So they tell them what they want to hear. So they start getting a disconnect from reality. Right?
I never thought it that way, but yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, that
does make sense.
You will start thinking about it once you go deeper into your own relationship journey. Like, when you get committed, moving together, then get married.
True.
They say that, two attractive women are generally difficult to handle because they are always disconnected from reality. And that disconnection happened because nobody told them the truth. Like, let's say, come on, if you are a 21-year-old, very attractive woman in a company, even if you don't do a great job, the boss is going to be like, very good, fantastic, I appreciate you.
True. That I have seen. Yes.
So,
I remember.
Have to be careful talking about these topics. So yeah, as I was saying, you have to be careful talking about these topics, especially in a day and age where, there is fourth wave, fifth wave of feminism going on, or whatever that is. But, I always try to kind of bring in the context of relationships in career and business success, because one wrong relationship can completely derail you from whatever career journey that you have been having for a very long time, right?
Very true.
It just takes one toxic relationship to, everything in life is reversible, in the sense that you can start a business, close a business, like you have done a few.
Yes.
You can go to a new job, quit that job. You can go to a new country, quit that country. One thing that is they say that you should not hesitate. Keep moving forward. And hesitation is like a dream killer, right? But one thing that you have to hesitate is getting married, because that is an irreversible thing.
Exactly.
And if you try to reverse, there is astronomical social, emotional and financial cost involved in it, because it is supposed to be that way. Because you can't have kids and then say, hey, it's not working for me, I'm putting down my papers. You can't do that, and you are not supposed to do that. So that is why I tell people that if you are a man, get married like 33 or 35, because your options are only going to get better, and you are going to get more independent. You are going to adult in a better way, and your options just keep increasing.
Definitely.
Especially for men from 25 to 35. While the options might decrease for women from 30 to 40, right?
Exactly.
Because of the biological realities that we cannot escape.
Exactly. I even recommend everyone don't fall into all these relationships or any sort of ship.
Yes.
Just focus on your ship.
Yes.
Build from 25 to 30. At least that is the age. Or at least up till a age of 27, 28. Don't think about doing other stuff. Try focusing, because this is your prime time.
Yeah.
You can have the best of the best network.
The amount of distractions that you might have later, once you get married, have kids, you might not be able to build a startup.
Yeah.
Which involves a lot of chaos.
Energy won't be available.
Yes.
Now the energy is distributed.
Yes.
Right? In multiple verticals.
But
currently the energy is focused at 100%, can be focused on one thing.
Yes.
And you can pull it off to such a good extent, and then probably you chill now. That is what I aim at.
Yeah, once you focused effort for 5 years, it is all it takes.
Yes,
for you to
done.
Build a nice nest egg in terms of your understanding about the market, understanding about your own skills, and some form of assets, whatever works for people.
That's all.
Right?
That is what I aim at. Go all hard and then think about doing anything of this sort.
Yes, exactly. Because you don't make relationships the central point of your life, right? We have probably seen many friends from school, college and everything, where instead of focusing on their career, their focus was on a woman. And they tried to do everything to win that woman, and probably she could have been one if you had focused on yourself and built yourself into a person of some level of social status, financial status,
this way
and some amount of strength. Then that will automatically come.
Exactly.
But if you chase that, then what if you lose your career?
It applies
and everything?
to women also.
Obviously.
It applies to both the genders. Focus on you, focus on building you. The other partner, the other things will come.
I would not necessarily say that it's the same for men and women, because if you think of men kind of trying to become the captains of their own ship, they always find passengers. But if women become the captains of their own ship, then they are not necessarily wanting to take on male passengers. Like, you never hear the story of a 32-year-old career woman who marries a 25-year-old guy who will be a great caretaker for the children. Probably never happens. Right? Women will always want to marry up in the social status.
Exactly.
They would want some other captain of their own ship, and they might be ready to abandon their ship, because a captain who has built his ship to a formidable extent is not going to suddenly give up on his captaincy and suddenly become a passenger. And women also do not want that. And the biological attraction mechanism are different, right? It's socially acceptable for a 22-year-old woman who has not built a career to marry a 35-year-old guy who has a very established career, or let's say 28-year-old guy. Let's not go that much difference in age. But it's never practical that a 35-year-old woman marries a younger guy who has not built his career. So it's optional for women, but it's mandatory for men.
I never thought it from that angle, but yeah.
So I mean, that's the rule that women created, right? If a mature career woman is ready to take me up as a household husband, then though maybe I would not be saying this as a requirement. So I have been constantly kind of seeing this disconnect in the reality of chalo, everything is equal, right? Sometimes things are not equal. That does not mean that things needs to be unfair, right? Men create the structure and women fill up that structure with certain things which men can never do. Like after I got married, the way the house looks probably would never look like that if I was single, right? It just doesn't, become obvious to you that chalo, you need to match the carpet and the sofa color, or put a wall hanging which will match with the wall paint. You never think that. So those things I think they are really good at.
Exactly.
That does not mean that I am suppressing their career and they should not have their career. My wife has a great career. But at the same time, it is in the context of the bubble that you have created and the frame that you have created that they enter that frame. And it's like the passenger entering a ship, right?
Exactly. No, sounds fair.
Yeah.
Sounds fair. That's a good perspective to look onto.
Yeah. So
It's a
I have
different
been
lens.
following a lot of YouTubers who talk a lot about this,
Okay.
and some of these guys are like psychologists, and they have written books from a very evolutionary psychology perspective, right? Because what you see on the surface in terms of what is seen on social media is probably like never the reality. Like women will keep saying that, hey, a man is attractive when he cooks, but will you get married to a 24-year-old jobless guy who is great at cooking? Probably not. You want a career guy who has social status, who has built a certain level of financial backing. You want that guy to also be good at cooking and good at cleaning house, right?
Compliment.
Yeah. So, but anyway, let's not diverge too much into this sensitive topic, which can get a backlash for me also. But I have been blogging about this as well, apart from digital marketing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. That's a very interesting.
Because end of the day, like what I have realized as a creator is that the combination of specific subjects that come together is what makes uniquely you.
Oh,
right?
Very true.
You are your niche. Deepak talks about Bitcoin. He has certain views on relationships, and he has certain views on business, digital marketing, and everything. And these three combined forms what digital Deepak is.
Exactly.
If I only talk about digital marketing, then how am I different from somebody else who is only talking about digital marketing?
Very true. But it's your permutation, your combination. You have built your way.
So you are your niche.
Yeah, obviously.
And then you will never have a competition because nobody
exactly.
can
It's
have
one of
this
the one
unique
game
overlap.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Very true. Very true. Yeah, sounds fair.
Yeah. Anyway, wonderful conversation. Thanks for coming down to the office and sharing your thoughts and insights on how to build an agency, the challenges that you have been going through. I'm pretty sure that people who have been watching this podcast would have gained a lot of value from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that.
Means a lot. Thank you, Deepak,
Yes,
for
thanks a
having
lot.
me here.
Yes.
Have a good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.